The year 2050 is not far away. In just a few decades, the planet we call home could look very different from today. Scientists around the world warn that if humanity continues on its current path, Earth may face unprecedented environmental challenges. Welcome to Green Earth VN. Today, we explore the top 10 alarming predictions for Earth in 2050, and why our actions today will shape that future. 1. Global temperatures exceed safe limits. Imagine a world where the relentless summer heat is no longer just an inconvenience, but a genuine threat to survival. This is the future we are heading towards, as global temperatures are predicted to rise beyond the critical 1.52 degrees Celsius threshold set by international climate agreements. This isn't just about warmer days. It's about a fundamental shift in our planet's climate system. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change IPCC has been sounding the alarm for years, and their models consistently show that without drastic and immediate cuts to greenhouse gas emissions, this level of warming is not just possible, but probable by 2050. What does this temperature increase actually mean for us? It translates into deadly heat waves becoming a regular occurrence, not a once-in-a-generation event. Cities, with their heat-absorbent asphalt and concrete, will transform into urban heat islands, where temperatures soar to life-threatening levels. The most vulnerable among elderly's children, and those with pre-existing health conditions, will be at the greatest risk. In many parts of the world, particularly around the equator and in already arid regions, the combination of extreme heat and humidity could make it nearly uninhabitable for large parts of the year. This isn't a distant dystopian fantasy. It's a scientifically projected reality based on our current trajectory. 2. Sea level rise threatens coastal cities as the planet warms. Its ice caps and glaciers melt at an accelerating rate. This meltwater, combined with the thermal expansion of seawater as it warms, is causing global sea levels to rise. By 2050, this rise could displace hundreds of millions of people living in coastal communities. Major, iconic cities like Miami, Venice, Jakarta, and Ho Chi Minh City are on the front lines, facing the prospect of frequent, devastating flooding that disrupts daily life, creepless economies, and contaminates freshwater supplies with salt water. The threat extends far beyond major urban centers. Low-lying island nations, such as the Maldives, Kiribati, and Tuvalu, face an existential crisis. For these countries, sea level rise isn't just about losing land. It's about losing their entire homeland, their culture, and their national identity. The very ground beneath their feet is projected to be swallowed by the ocean, creating a new class of climate refugees and raising complex international questions about sovereignty and responsibility. The fate of these nations is a stark preview of what awaits countless other coastal regions if we fail to act. 3. Global freshwater shortages. While some parts of the world will be inundated with seawater, others will be desperately searching for a single drop of fresh water. By 2050, it is estimated that over 5 billion people, more than half of the projected global population, could face severe water scarcity for at least 1 month out of the year. Climate change is disrupting traditional weather patterns, making rainfall more erratic. Glaciers, which act as natural water towers for billions of people by releasing meltwater steadily throughout the year, are shrinking, threatening the water supply of major river systems like the Ganges, Indus, and Yangtze. This scarcity will have dire consequences. Agriculture, which consumes the vast majority of our global freshwater, will suffer severe losses. Farmers will struggle to grow enough food to feed a growing population, leading to crop failures and food shortages. As this essential resource becomes scarcer, the potential for conflict will inevitably increase. Tensions are already rising in regions that share river basins, and experts warn that water wars, once a concept of science fiction, could become a geopolitical reality as nations and communities vie for control over dwindling water resources. 4. Rapid loss of biodiversity. We're living through the 6th mass extinction in Earth's history, and it is being driven by human activity. By 2050, this crisis is set to accelerate dramatically, putting millions of plant and animal species at risk of disappearing forever. Deforestation for agriculture, urban sprawl, pollution, and the direct impacts of climate change are destroying habitats at an unprecedented rate, from the Amazon rainforest to the world's coral reefs. The ecosystems that support the rich tapestry of life on Earth are losing their stability and resilience. Why does this matter. Biodiversity is not just about saving charismatic animals like polar bears or tigers. It's about preserving the complex web of life that provides us with essential services. A stable ecosystem purifies our air and water, pollinates our crops, and provides us with sources for new medicines. As species vanish, these ecosystems begin to unravel. The intricate connections that have evolved over millennia break down, threatening our food security, our health, and the very stability of the natural world we depend on for our survival. 5. More frequent and extreme natural disasters. The extra energy trapped in our atmosphere by greenhouse gases is supercharging our weather systems. By 2050, we can expect natural disasters to become not only more frequent, but also far more extreme and destructive. Warmer ocean waters act as fuel for hurricanes and typhoons, leading to stronger storms with higher wind speeds and heavier rainfall, capable of causing catastrophic flooding and damage far inland. Simultaneously, prolonged periods of heat and drought will create tinderbox conditions, leading to more widespread and intense wildfires. We are already seeing this in places like California, Australia, and the Mediterranean, where fire seasons are becoming longer and more devastating each year. The climate will become a system of extremes, with some regions suffering from unpredictable, record-breaking floods, while others endure crippling droughts. This volatility will make it increasingly difficult to plan, to farm, and to live safely. 6. Global food security crisis. A stable climate is the foundation of our global food system, and that foundation is cracking. By 2050, the combined effects of heat stress, water scarcity, extreme weather events, and the decline of pollinators will significantly reduce crop yields for staple foods like wheat, corn, and rice. The regions that are currently the breadbaskets of the world may find their agricultural productivity plummeting. As supply dwindles and demand continues to grow with the global population, food prices are projected to rise sharply worldwide. This will disproportionately impact the poorest and most vulnerable populations, pushing hundreds of millions more people into hunger and malnutrition. The dream of ending world hunger will become an even more distant goal, replaced by the grim reality of a global food security crisis that could fuel social unrest and instability across the globe. 7. Uncontrolled environmental pollution. Our planet is choking on our waste. If current trends continue, by 2050, environmental pollution will reach alarming new levels. Air pollution from burning fossil fuels and industrial processes will continue to cause millions of premature deaths each year and contribute to a rise in chronic respiratory and cardiovascular diseases, especially in densely populated urban areas. The skies over many cities will be permanently shrouded in a toxic smog. In our oceans, the crisis of plastic waste will have overwhelmed marine ecosystems. It is estimated that by 2050, there could be more plastic than fish in the sea by weight. This plastic breaks down into tiny particles called microplastics, which are now being found everywhere in our drinking water, in our food, in the air we breathe, and even inside our own bodies. The long-term health consequences of this pervasive contamination are still largely unknown, but the initial research is deeply concerning. 8. Oceans in crisis. The world's oceans, which have absorbed over 90% of the excess heat and a significant portion of the carbon dioxide from our emissions, are reaching a breaking point. Ocean acidification, caused by the absorption of CO2, is making it difficult for organisms like corals, clams, and plankton to build their shells and skeletons. This, combined with rising water temperatures, is causing mass coral bleaching events. Scientists predict that by 2050, up to 90% of the world's tropical coral reefs, the vibrant rainforests of the sea, could disappear. The collapse of these vital habitats will have a cascading effect throughout the marine food web. Fish populations, which depend on reefs for shelter and food, are expected to decline sharply. This not only threatens marine biodiversity, but also the livelihoods of hundreds of millions of people who rely on fishing for their food and income. The entire marine food chain, from the smallest plankton to the largest whales, is at risk of collapse. 9. Mass climate migration, as parts of the world become increasingly uninhabitable due to sea level rise, desertification, and chronic natural disasters. We will witness human migration on a scale never seen before. Projections suggest that by 2050, There could be hundreds of millions of climate migrants, people forced to leave their homes in search of safety and a viable future. This is not a voluntary movement in search of economic opportunity. It is a forced displacement driven by survival. These displaced communities will place immense pressure on the cities and countries they move to, straining resources like housing, water, food, and healthcare. This mass movement of people has the potential to stoke social tensions and create significant political and global instability. The issue of climate refugees will become one of the defining humanitarian and political challenges of the 21st century. 10. Ecosystems approach. Irreversible tipping points. Perhaps the most alarming prediction of all is the risk of crossing irreversible climate tipping points. These are thresholds within the Earth's system that, once crossed, could trigger rapid self-perpetuating and potentially catastrophic changes. Examples include the complete collapse of the Greenland or West Antarctic ice sheets, the debulk of the Amazon rainforest, or the shutdown of major ocean circulation patterns. Once a tipping point is crossed, the climate system could shift into a new, hotter, and far less stable state, and nature would lose its ability to recover. We could trigger feedback loops that we cannot control, locking in centuries or even millennia of further warming and environmental degradation, no matter what we do. At that point, humanity would face a deeply uncertain future on a planet that is fundamentally less hospitable to our civilization. The year 2050 is not a prediction carved in stone. It is the result of choices we make today. The science is clear, and the warnings are dire, but they are not a declaration of defeat. They are a call to action. Earth still has a chance to avoid this future, but time is running out. We possess the technology, the knowledge, and the resources to transition to a sustainable path, to harness clean energy, to protect our ecosystems, and to build a more resilient world. The question is whether we have the collective will to do so. If you believe our planet is worth protecting, if you believe in a safer, more stable future for generations to come, then it's time to make your voice heard. Like this video, share it with your friends and family, and subscribe to Green Earth VN to stay informed and engaged. Because protecting Earth means protecting our future.